The upper arm is doing all the work. Once you push forward, the forearm has no action left. The shot is already over. Alright, today's lesson is on the backhand system. Let's start with topspin. A common problem I hear is that a player's backhand isn't strong enough to finish the point. Does that sound familiar to any of you? If one or two shots don't finish the rally, my first solution is to change the placement. My second option is to use my opponent's pace, redirecting their power to the middle or back to their backhand. By using their energy, you reduce your own chance of making an error. A third option is to add more spin, but for amateur players, generating heavy spin is often more difficult than generating power. To win a backhand exchange by forcing an error with your heavy spin requires a great deal of practice. Only as a last resort should you try to force the point with pure power. With a backhand topspin, if you try to add power without enough brushing friction, the ball will likely go long. So, if you want to generate power while maintaining consistency, you must master the backhand rip. However, if you have natural explosive power, you can opt for a backhand punch. A classic tactic I use is to first loop with heavy spin, then follow up with a punch. The drastic change in pace and spin will often force an error from your opponent. A second tactic is to play a standard loop, and then use your opponent's pace on the return to change the placement. A third approach is to lift the ball with a less spinny loop, setting yourself up for a powerful rip on the next shot. Why not a heavy spin loop? Because a heavy spin ball will come back with a lot of spin, making it easy to get jammed or hit the edge of your racket. After a powerful loop, your follow-up should be a change of placement. Your opponent will likely block defensively, so be ready to redirect the ball. Because they are in a passive, defensive position, changing direction will force them to move, and their reaction will be slower. Second, if you loop with heavy spin, your opponent will likely block it back softly, giving you an opportunity for a smash. Third, play a solid, standard quality loop, and then be ready to attack with a powerful rip. In a real match, it's unrealistic to just hit powerful shots back and forth like you see on TV. That's incredibly difficult. Your backhand becomes a real threat when you start manipulating the pace and placement of the rally. So let's build our backhand topspin system around these three elements: changing placement, increasing speed, and adding spin. First, let's focus on changing placement. I believe all changes of direction, especially down the line, should primarily use the opponent's pace. Trying to create your own power will cause more errors. Watch how I block. By adding a little forward push, I can easily redirect the ball. You must learn this active block. You can also use a bigger swing for power, but you must ensure you brush the ball, otherwise it will go out. For players whose backhand drive and backhand rip aren't fully developed, all changes of placement should be done by blocking and redirecting. What is a block? It's your defensive response to an opponent's attack. A block is executed by making contact with the ball in front of your body. For example, if I can't win a rally after a few shots, I won't force a powerful drive. All these shots are based on using my opponent's pace. Because you can change direction at any moment, it keeps your opponent off balance. They have to constantly be ready for your change of placement. The key to an effective change of placement is surprise, and using your opponent's pace is the best way to achieve that. The same principle applies to the forehand. After your initial loop is blocked, you cannot take a big backswing to change direction. If you do, the ball will go out. It doesn't matter where you are on the court, even mid-distance, do not take a big backswing for this shot. Why do we miss? A big swing combines your power with the ball's incoming speed. Instead, absorb and redirect the ball's energy. Look at my defensive block. With the same motion, apply a little subtle finger pressure, and this ball will kick deep to the baseline. Since you can't predict the opponent's power, I recommend that for changes of placement, you stay close to the ball. It's safer and more consistent. Next, let's talk about how to generate power on your backhand. Because the backhand stroke is more compact, its power doesn't come from body rotation, especially against topspin. Watch me. My power comes from the punch and the rip. The feeling of a powerful backhand is like cracking a whip, you're snapping the end of your forearm forward. Players with a weak backhand often have this problem. Their upper arm and forearm aren't working independently, they move as one solid unit. You're just pushing the ball. For your backswing, it's not enough to just pull your arm back. You must fully fold your forearm towards your body. Many players keep their upper arm forward in a blocking posture. When trying to generate power, their forearm backswing is too short. That's the first mistake. The second mistake is in the forward swing. The correct sequence is upper arm, then forearm. You must snap the forearm forward, but many players lack this. Instead, they just push forward with the upper arm, failing to create that crucial second stage of acceleration with the forearm. It's just a push. Actually, many players have the same issue with their forehand. The inability to generate power comes from the upper and lower arm not being independent. It's the same principle. You only get power when the arm segments fire in sequence. On the backhand, the forearm's role is even more critical. If you can't separate your upper and lower arm on the backhand, your power will not be focused, because the forearm provides that second burst of acceleration. The problem is you're overusing your upper arm, leaving no room for the forearm to snap forward like a whip for that final acceleration. The upper arm is doing all the work. Once you push forward, the forearm has no action left. The shot is already over. Therefore, the upper arm's movement must be controlled, just enough to create space for the forearm to accelerate. The upper arm drives forward, and then you must leave enough room for the forearm to execute the second stage of acceleration. This is how you generate real backhand power. It's the same for looping backspin. Many can lift the ball, but the quality is poor for this exact reason. If you want to loop with high quality, watch my upper and lower arm closely. Do you see that final snap from my forearm? That's where the power comes from. The first part of the arm, upper arm, has no real power. It's the second part, the forearm, that delivers the impact. You have to create that feeling of snapping the forearm forward to have a good backhand. So, you must learn to use your forearm properly. The upper arm stabilizes, and the forearm accelerates. Your forearm needs to be explosive for your backhand to have power. The reason for weak power is that the upper and lower arm aren't separated. The upper arm does too much, leaving no room for the forearm to accelerate. The third topic is backhand acceleration. Watch as I go from slow to fast. My stroke mechanics don't change. Therefore, speed doesn't come from taking the ball earlier or making your swing bigger. It comes from increasing the speed at which you execute your existing stroke. Look at the difference between a slow and a fast execution. The faster your overall stroke frequency, the faster the ball speed. It's the same for serves and pushes. You increase speed by increasing the frequency of the motion. Many players, when they want more speed, make their swing bigger. Naturally, this leads to more errors. You can accelerate with a compact stroke. Let me show you the difference between slow and fast again. These are all compact strokes. Ball speed isn't determined by the size of your swing, but by the frequency of your motion. Higher frequency equals higher speed. So, how do you increase this frequency? It comes down to instantaneous explosive power. I'll demonstrate two motions. Tell me which one has more explosive power. The first, the second. Now I'll hit the ball with both motions. You all saw it. What made the second one better? Exactly. It's the transition from relaxation to acceleration. When playing, you need to feel like you're whipping your strokes out. Don't just go through the motions for the sake of it. Instead, find the key elements, like your center of gravity, timing the contact, driving through your hips and legs, and the cycle of relaxation and acceleration when executing a shot. If you can master this core concept, transitioning from a loose, relaxed state to a sharp, explosive state, your shots will absolutely have power. My stroke may look compact, but my hand is completely relaxed during the backswing. A professional's compact motion isn't stiff, it's just a more efficient state of relaxation. If you can execute every shot by going from maximum relaxation to instant explosion, your power will be at its peak. You have to maximize that contrast. You can't generate power by being only a little relaxed and then a little tense. Do you know why you can loop backspin in practice, but miss it in a match? It's because under match pressure, you get tense. This tension makes your body stiff and your movement slow. This is why you must practice in a state of extreme relaxation. If your baseline relaxation is 80% and match tension costs you 30%, you still have 50% left, enough to execute the shot. But if you're already 80% tense in practice, you'll be 100% tense in a match. In practice, your serve is fluid. But at 9-9 in a crucial game, your hand gets stiff, and your serve becomes a simple push. This is all caused by tension. This is a physical manifestation of muscle tension. It's especially noticeable in your serve, loop, push, and particularly, your serve-receive. That's why this relationship between relaxation and acceleration is so critical. Without it, your technique works in practice but breaks down in a match. Let me explain this relationship one more time. Although the backswing looks structured, my hand and my grip are actually very loose. When you see us generate power, it looks like we're straining, but it actually originates from a state of extreme relaxation. Because only from relaxation can you create acceleration. In a match, you must be relaxed to lift a heavy backspin ball. If you're tense, your upward brushing motion will be too slow, and you'll hit the net. At higher levels, if you don't have that relaxed, sensitive feeling in your hand, your technique is far more likely to fail under pressure. You must take this seriously. Achieve a state of controlled relaxation. Only then can your skills be executed consistently in a match. You need to build a margin for error into your game for when pressure hits.